A second problem, though, has been our reliance in the Middle East on special relationships with a few countries instead of having normal relations with all of them. We can't achieve peace with the Palestinians because we have a special relationship with Israel, and so we only can put pressure on one side. We can't stop the war in Yemen because we have a special relationship with Saudi Arabia, which we're reluctant to jeopardize. We can't take action when a journalist is brutally murdered for the same reasons. We can't act effectively to end the Syrian civil war because we keep insisting, on the one hand, Assad must go, but we don't want most of his opponents to win, which turns out to be a pretty hard circle to square. Now, having these special relationships may have made sense during the Cold War when we were competing with the Soviet Union, but remember, the Soviet Union disappeared way back in 1991, yet we didn't reach out that we should have no relationship at all. I might add that this approach would maximize American leverage in the region. When Mike Pompeo goes to the Middle East, and when he goes to Riyadh, I want the Saudis to know that his next stop is Tehran. And when he's in Tehran, I want the Iranians to know that then he's going to Tel Aviv. When he's in Tel Aviv, I want them to know his next stop is Ankara, because that gives all of these governments some incentives to tell Pompeo something he would like to hear, instead of taking American support for granted, which is what they do now. That's what would give us leverage. It's worth remembering, by the way, that Russia and China talk to everybody in the region. They talk directly to everybody in the region. You'd think maybe the United States could think about doing that too.
That we dismiss or overlook the importance of our liberal values at great peril. As I said, I'm scared for the first time in my life. I have read too much history of the 1930s and other points to think that this is nothing. This is not nothing. This is a big deal. And the populism that is sweeping the United States, EU elections in the next few days that will probably bring somewhere between 150 and 170 seats to far-right, anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim, anti-Jewish, anti-everything people. What's been happening in Turkey, the illiberal turn, in Italy, in Poland, in Hungary. This is a very scary moment. And so it seems to me that our first, second, third, and fourth priorities is to get our own houses in order before we turn to solving the problems of the Middle East or the problems of Ukraine.